Sometimes this roof up over my head starts getting me down, crowding me out. You know what I'm talking about. I need to clear my head and head for the countryside. Take a little walk, maybe take a little ride. Bullfrogs croaking, smallmouth jumping, wind blowing through the trees. So let's throw a cooler in the truck. I know where I wanna be, outdoors with Joey Mines, in a deer stand back in the woods, or kicking back, wetting the line. Rain pours, sun shines, but it's all good, 'cause I'm doing what I love with who I like. I can find that peace of mind I'm looking for outdoors.
Outdoors with Joey Mines is brought to you in part by Wendy's, Midstate RV Center, Angler Qwest Pontoon Boats, Raging Rhino Lures, crvillas.com, B&M Poles, Highland Marina Resort, Aikens Ford in Winder, Georgia, Wild Willie's Custom Accessories, Bad Boy Buggies, and Southern Cart Services. For the next half hour, join us.
But it's all good, 'cause we're doing what we love with who we like. We can find that peace of mind we're looking for outdoors.
Where'd it go?
Right there. That's what they look like. There they are on the bottom. There's one. There's one. All right. There's a pretty crappie. Okay. Boy, it is literally the crack of dawn. Hi folks, welcome to this week's show. Today I've got a new technique to talk about. We're going to be catching crappie on a ledge. It's mid-May. We're in 21 feet of water. Over my shoulder is 15 feet. These crappie are, here's another fish right here. Here's another one, there's another one, there's another one. Okay, I got another one on. All right, let me get this one. And we're gonna go over our technique. All right, there we go. Right on cue. Okay. Mid-May, fish are biting, West Point Lake. Folks, when we come back, we're gonna go over the technique. It's not brush piles today, it's catching them on a ledge. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for a great location for a romantic getaway, a family vacation, a reunion, or a fishing party with your buddies? Come to Highland Marina Resort. We have waterfront cabins to fit every budget. Check out our newly constructed Lake Point chalets. The lake views are awesome and the sunsets are breathtaking. There's a waterfront restaurant and a fleet of rental craft, and the fishing, it's awesome. For all the details, visit our website at highlandmarinaresort.com.
Folks, let's talk a minute about how to rig your bait today. Pretty simple. There's a fish right there. With a little luck, they're going to interrupt me about every 10 seconds catching a fish. We've got a number 2 hook. There's a number 2. This is a light wire hook. I'm going to take my minnow and hook him from one eye to the other. It's that simple. I've got 6-pound test line. And if you look, this is a little different than usual. I've got about a 2.5 foot leader, and this is a 3/8 ounce weight right there with a swivel. And the good thing about today, this area that we're fishing has got a multitude of different kinds of fish. We should be able to catch stripers. We should be able to catch hybrids, crappie, of which is the one we really want to catch, as well as white bass. They're coming in here. This is an area that the bait fish pull in early in the morning. They'll be in here for 2 to 3 hours, and they'll pull up on this ledge right here in front of us, and that's our pattern today. We'll be fishing right off the ledge in 20, 21 foot of water. So with a little luck, you'll see a lot of action. This is my favorite time of year to catch fish. I've got brush piles. I've got 116 brush piles, and fish are in my brush piles as well. One thing about brush pile fishing, you don't go there at daylight, by the way. They're not in there. There's a few fish that'll go there. They want the sun to come up. And so what we're doing, there's a fish right here. There's a fish right there, right there. There's one. Oh. So what you want to do is come to an area like this if you want to start at daylight before they get to the brush piles. In another 2 hours, these fish, I've got a brush pile within about 200 yards of here. If we've got time today, we'll pull out there and try and catch some of those fish when the sun comes up. They want the sun to be high bright to catch them in the brush piles. Simple technique. But right now they're feeding, they're on this ledge, and I've got 4 rods out. One thing about equipment, I believe I've got the best on the market today. Here's number 1 right here, Lowrance Electronics HDS 10 Generation 2. Right here's our fish, by the way. There's our fish right there, right where my finger is. Good electronics. There's our fish right here on the bottom, right where my finger is. That's what a crappie looks like. They'll get on the bottom. And good electronics will allow me to find these fish. Another little tip. We've got Driftmaster rod holders, best on the market. This is a Driftmaster right here. When that fish hits, I'll be able to take the rod out and set the hook. Best on the market. There's none better than Driftmaster for sure. And then my favorite part of today is the equipment as far as a rod and reel. This is a B&M pole, and it's 7.5 foot long. I've got a B&M reel. It's called a 100 best reel on the market. Outstanding for catching crappie, stripers. You can catch a 10, 20 pound striper with this little tiny reel, by the way. I'm using this on my striper trips. We're having a little more fun now. It's not hook him, snatch him in the boat. You've got to hook him, fight him, and then put him in the boat. So outstanding equipment will allow you to catch more fish. Here's a fish right here. He just thumped it one time. There's one. There's one. There we go. There we go, folks. All right. Let's see what this one is. Okay, there's your white bass. This is an example of the different kind of fish you can catch today. We've been here about 15 minutes, caught a couple of crappie, and now there's your white bass. We'll let you go. All right. Okay. Well, we've got an absolutely wonderful morning. One thing that has happened in the last 2 days, we've got a cold front that came in. The good thing about catching hybrids, stripers, white bass in 20 feet of water, the weather does not hurt them versus being in shallow water. If we were fishing toward the banks and all, that cold front affects those fish a lot more. So we got a little wind gonna blow today. They say it's gonna blow 20, 25 miles an hour. And the place that I'm in right now is a little cove, and we've got those fish located right on the ledge.
Qwest Pontoon Boats features a unique, lightweight design for the maximum boating experience. From our paddle boats, to the Luxury Series, to the Angler Quest, made for the serious fisherman. Qwest Pontoon Boats meets the needs and budgets for every boating experience. We have the boat you've been looking for and invite you to experience Qwest. Check us out at QwestPontoons.com.
Folks, we're going to take a couple of minutes. Qwest Pontoons. I can't say enough good about the company. They're out of St. Louis, Michigan. Outstanding pontoon boats. This past summer, I had a chance to go visit the plant, and we're going to take you on a plant tour of how this boat is made. Boy, wonderful people, outstanding boat. let's go learn a little bit about Qwest Pontoons.
Welcome to Apex Marine. My name is Brad Dupuis. I oversee the production and engineering items here at Apex Marine. Here we're at the water jet cutting machine. This water jet is the start of a lot of the processes, and it's a machine that helps us get the same repetitive parts. It helps production flow. It's a great start to our process of building our pontoon boat. The water jet is responsible for cutting a lot of our componentry in the flat, nose cones, triple tube parts, several components like that. On and on. So after we get done with cutting parts in a water jet, they stage in this area and are ready for fabrication in the fabrication area. This is an example of part that came off the water jet. It's been through the roller. One of the many parts that we start on the water jet that starts the front end of our production process. Once we start rolling tubes and we take flat stock into tubular material, we run them on this seamer. The seamer is an automated seamer that really lays a good weld, a great start to our tubes to start the process of our pontoon boats. Once we're set up with tubular material that has gone through the seamer, they stage in this area. This is the area where we start the fabrication of the whole tube itself for all our pontoon boats. Here we're actually tacking the nose cone assembly, putting baffles, end caps, things of that nature that help provide the structure for our tubes. Once our tubes are tacked together with the baffling and end caps, nose cones, they go into this area where we actually weld all the radial seams. This tube is actually spinning at a really low rate of speed, and this gentleman is holding the gun, the MIG gun, in the correct location to provide a good quality seam to join those tube sections together. Once we have the radial seams on the tube, they go to our riser table. This table is a jig that has all our riser configurations for every boat we create. So once the radial seams are created and the tube sections are joined together, we MIG weld all of the risers, which are an extrusion that go on the tubes. And once again, this jig has every riser location configuration for all of our boats. Once we get done with the risers being welded, it goes over into the finish area where we add on an extrusion on the bottom of the tube. We refer to it as a keel. Once again, an extrusion. A lot of manufacturers, this is not a standard option. It's an option to have to buy this. All of our tubes have a keel on the bottom to help prevent any damage for if you contact the bottom, things of that nature. So once again, the tubes continuing down the line, the bottom keel added. Once we get over to the second station, we're going to check for leaks, pressurize the tube, run soapy water on those tubes, make sure we do not have any leaks. In parallel with the tube creation that we do here at Apex Marine, we have a separate station that parallels that where we actually create our triple tube assemblies. The center tube, underneath the two pontoons in the middle, our performance package. In this area, we have some jigging, clamping, things of that nature to help create that process, create the part a good repeatable way and a good quality part. Once our tubes are created, they're ready for assembly. In this area, we're staging our tubes, ready for the assembly line for them to add the C-channeling, the structure, and start the actual assembly process of the boat. Over here, we've got an example of one of our motor mounts. One thing I want to point out is there's a mylar that's on this material. The reason we have that on there, when we bend this part, run it through our press brake, we light that plastic on there to help keep any dye marks, any scratching, anything from that occurring. So when that customer gets that brand new boat, it looks as good as possible. A little thing here at Apex that we like to do to keep an eye on that fine detail quality. Once our tubes are staged, we're grabbing the tubes. And in this area, this gentleman's adding the C-channeling, which once again is an extrusion, a high-strength extrusion. This is the cross membrane of our boat. This is the backbone of everything on the boat. So in this process, we add extra C-channeling. We do some I-beaming of the C-channeling, some things to really help stiffen the rear end of that boat for the transom so that motor is good and stiff. We're not getting a lot of deflection. This is where we put the wood on, a pressure-treated 3/4 marine-grade plywood. And we attach that to the C-channeling. And once that wood is attached to the C-channeling, we add our floor covering, rub rail, corner caps, etc. One thing I want to point out on our wood, our supplier runs this through an extra process, a sanding process, so we have a really nice level surface. This day and age, vinyl is a very prevalent floor covering, and it's really critical that that surface is nice and flat, no voids, can't see into the seams, etc. So that extra sanding process really helps that out. Once those tubes are all decked up with plywood, floor covering, rub rail, etc., we're ready to continue up the production line. Here's an example of a fully decked boat. Once it's done in this stage, it goes up a little further where we bend our walls, add the walls, bolt them to the floor, and continues up the production line. You can see an example of, if you look real close, we can see some wall spacers. These wall spacers are really critical to what we do here. It helps get ventilation, helps airflow underneath the wall. In turn, it goes under our furniture, which is spaced up so that we can get that good airflow. Very critical thing, a little thing that makes a big difference. We don't want mold, we don't want moss, things of that nature occurring on the boat. So once we get those walls on, as you can see this gentleman here, we're adding the furniture, we're wiring the boat up, doing the different things to continue the process for assembly, ultimately ending up in that final product. Another item that we're really pleased to show and really proud of here at Apex Marine is our furniture creation. A lot of manufacturers do not create their own furniture, they buy it. We keep it in-house, we like it in-house, it controls our quality, gives us flexibility, and this is the start of it back here in the wood shop. We have a CNC router, which is a tool that really helps the front end of our furniture creation. I would call it kind of like the water jet, but in the wood shop. This is the area where all of our wood frames are first created, cut, assembled, and is the start of the furniture creation process. The CNC router is also the starting point of our creation of the furniture of the plastic bases. All of our seats have a plastic fabricated base, not a rotocast base. We fabricate our bases out of 4x8 sheet material, far superior. It allows us to space that up, not close off that piece of furniture on the bottom, but we space it up, get airflow, help ventilation, keep that proverbial science experiment from happening under the seat. Once we get that wood frame created, the very start of our furniture creation, it goes to this stage. This is where we foam the frames and the backs. We actually glue this material on. All of our frames have a 3/8 pad on the outside to give it a nice soft touch. Once again, this is the stage continuing the furniture up the line, the foaming / gluing stage of the furniture creation. All this furniture, there's different sizes, different specifications to all the boat. All the different sizes, widths, lengths are all in this area. You can see we stock all of our foam for all the different pieces of furniture. We have kits. This is the start of the furniture creation process after the frame is built. Once we get that frame foamed up, it's ready to go into the pulling stage, as we call it. In this area, we have sewers in parallel with people taking sewn covers and stretching them over the bases, over the backs, and the start of the assembly process to really getting closer to that lead spot where we're actually showing a legitimate piece of furniture. This is the start of the furniture creation as far as the vinyl side of it. This machine is a blade cutter. This really helps control the quality. Two things it's doing: controlling quality, helping the yield of our material being efficient so we don't run through as much material. This machine really ensures the quality by making sure that that pattern is cut the same every time. If we have variance on that pattern when it's cut, you'll see that in the final result of the furniture. Once the upholstery has pulled the backs, pulled the bases, put the vinyl over the bases and the frames, they stage in this area. We have the backs and the bases separate. They stage in this area and continue down in parallel with our boat production and get assembled over in this area. In this area, this is ready for the production line. They grab this furniture, take it over to the boat, assemble it, wire speakers into it, do the miscellaneous things that we need to do to add this furniture to the boat. We are in the final assembly area now. The boat is very close to being completed. This is where everything marries together, and this is very, very close to the end boat. You can see the guys are assembling, doing the different things that you got to do to finish off this boat, getting it ready to get shrunk wrapped and shipped out the door. Folks, I hope you learned a little something today, how we do things here at Apex Marine, showing some of the processes that leads to the high quality boats that we produce. Behind me is a finished 822 Luxury Series Qwest Pontoon. A great boat, and we'd love to get anybody and everybody in these boats. If you have any questions about our product, please call us or look at our website, QwestPontoons.com. Thanks for joining me.
Folks, it's time to go fishing on West Point Lake in LaGrange, Georgia. This is my 32nd year of guiding on West Point for large coolers full of crappie. New for 2015, I will be fishing out of the Qwest Pontoon boat. This boat is ideal for groups of up to 8 people. This is the best boat I have ever used for guiding. Over the past 20 years, I have put over 100 brush piles in West Point Lake that creates cover for crappie year-round. I cater to young children and the handicapped. Like Outdoors with Joey Mines on Facebook to keep up with what the fish are doing, as well as catch the latest episode of Outdoors with Joey Mines. Call 706-402-3607 or visit me on the web at joeymines.com.
Now we're getting a little bigger white bass. Okay. That's a pretty one. Pretty white bass. I'm just going back and forth over an area about, I don't know, 50 feet worth of going down this bank. That's a pretty healthy white bass. See you, buddy. You know, one thing that adds up to success, we've talked about the rods, the reels, the boat today, is eyewear. And this right here is called Typhoon Optics. Folks, these are the best glasses I have ever worn, and I promise you, I have tried them all. I've had a number of different kinds over the years. Typhoon, it's the quality of the lens is outstanding. They're smudge proof. There's a new technology that when the water hits them, it beads off just like a Rain-X. If you've ever heard of Rain-X that you put on your windshield, well, that's what Typhoon has got. There's a couple of ways to find them. You can go to typhoon.com, typhoonoptics.com. They're at West Marine, bassproshops.com as well. Outstanding company that has a great sunglass for every need in the outdoors. Eye protection is so important, and the older I get, the more I protect myself with sunscreen, eyewear, the right clothing, because the weather, needless to say, can hurt you, and it's something that you don't want to have happen. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back.
Typhoon Optics, featuring AquaView with its polarized lens technology, has a lifetime warranty with 100% UV protection. They are water repellent, smudge proof, anti-static with an unbreakable injected polycarbonate lens. Typhoon sunglasses are available at West Marine, BassPro.com, and Typhoon.com.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Little different technique for you today. If you're interested in a trip on West Point Lake, well, I do the crappie fishing for sure, and I also do some striper fishing still. So if you're interested in that, love to take you doing that. Highland Marina Resort is my favorite place in the world that I guide out of, and I've actually been doing that for 34 years now. Great friends. If you want the perfect place to stay for you and your family, they've got every kind of cabin you can think of, from the inexpensive 1-bedrooms all the way up to the 3-bedroom chalets. Great friends of mine. While you're in LaGrange, I strongly recommend that you eat in the restaurants here. We've got a lot of great local restaurants. LaGrange is a neat place to live for sure. I've been here almost 40 years now, and it's a big part of my life. Folks, until next time, crappie fishing, it is my passion for sure. Y'all have some good hunting and good fishing. I'll see you next week.